It is important to know the elite things in life that get you to where you need to be. Stay tuned for this one, everybody. Well, I'm going to start off this show with saying if you missed the first show, first off, hopefully you can't notice the edits that I'm going to have to make because I pressed the wrong button once or twice. But that's okay because we are allowed to do editing in our world, right? And that's what I have become a bit of a connoisseur. What do you call me? A connoisseur? I've learned how to edit, everybody. And you have to do it through Adobe Premiere primarily is the best one. And they figured out how to make it like it's an expensive program, but they do it a monthly thing now, right? But you get like 17 different applications you can. But get Adobe Premiere. I learned that from a buddy of mine. I'm like, is it Final Cut Pro? Is it Adobe Premiere? Well, my buddy does the production for probably the best known ever musician from St. Louis. Take a guess who that is. It's getting hot in here. And he does a lot of production for some of my friends that we all know. And he told me how to use it. So with that, there's only a little bit of editing. I messed up. I just pressed the wrong button. I put the credits up in the middle of the show. I tell it like it is. I'll even share my mistakes with people because you got to learn from mistakes. And if you haven't made mistakes, that means you haven't tried yet, right?
Yeah, true.
Is that fair to say?
I've made a lot of mistakes.
If just nobody does everything perfect the first time. It's impossible. So you got the guy who tells you about the mistakes that he's made. And Wade may share some of those. I don't want him to talk. But we all share about what was a mistake either you helped somebody with that they got into or you helped them or got that question. I pre-wrote all my questions, everybody. Makes my life a lot easier to manage. But with that, let's dive in here. That first show, if you didn't get the first show, Wade shares some of elite information. I love losing that word elite. That's what Elite Renovations, LLC, a culture of excellence and upholding unwavering integrity. And you do that, I'm going to put the camera on myself for this one. Here we go. You do that because it makes your life easier. Not because it's harder work. Oh, I guess harder work. I got to do more work. But in the long run, you will do less work. So you see, you're going to pay for it now or you pay for it later. Because if you didn't do it right, you're going to have to go fix it. Yeah. And better to do it right in full integrity. I like what you mentioned that during the first show. Mm-hmm. Put good message for everybody. Thank you. All right. As I get into try to now, do you focus strictly on residential? Do you do some commercial? I mean,
we do commercial too.
So what percentage would you say of each do you do?
It's probably 90% residential. I do a commercial job every couple years or something, but we're actually doing one right now for that same designer that I was talking about. So
yeah, I was gonna say if it's something that you've been known for, then you get more of it. But if it's things that people you're like saying that's not really what I do, but they say, but please, you're really good at what you did for my house. Do this too. Is that kind of where this comes from?
Yeah.
And just double.
But in the union, when I was in that, I did half of my union trade, which was probably 7 years of residential, and I did 7 years of commercial. So I learned all the ins and outs of both fields, I guess. But
so it's not just the fact that you've had some jobs and you're like, hey, let's figure out the difference. It can't be. You actually had 7 years of training.
Yeah, I can definitely do it. Yeah.
Okay.
And my guys can now too, because I've trained them, as well. So
the fruit does not fall far from the tree, everybody. The guy who had all the expert training will teach the people. I love doing that too. People will say, Carter, why do you tell everybody your secrets? I'm like, because there's so many secrets to know about the business and the way the world works, especially when you get into video, marketing, technology, all of the above. I built the Microsoft Exchange systems for the largest brewing company in the world. I built it in my house. That's where I learned. When it gets down to it, tell me a time where, as we've been through life, where you felt like you really helped a client. You really helped a client, and you had to deal with it.
Many. I had a customer, I guess it's about a year ago. They had this fireplace in the center of their home. They hired another contractor to remove this fireplace, and this contractor did not know what they were doing, so they removed every support beam around this fireplace and then removed the fireplace and just drywalled it. So within a month probably of them doing it, the whole ceiling started to sag and sag and sag, and it was about to fall on their heads. So they called me and looked us up, actually on the Better Business Bureau, saw our reviews and hired us to come fix it. And once we opened up the drywall, I was just blown away at how bad it was and how this other contractor had left them. But We actually had to get a structural engineer to redesign this ceiling because that's how bad they screwed it up. So that's one thing. Another thing that I can think of is one of my favorite customers I've ever had. She's actually passed away right now, or passed away a couple years ago, but she had lupus, and there was many times that she was struggling and didn't have her family near, so I would stop in the middle of my day and run to her place and, help her out with food, or one time she was sick and almost passed out on the floor, and I had to pick her up and carry her to my truck and, rush her to the emergency room and things like that. So not construction related, but that's another thing I can think of that I, feel like I helped a customer out.
Well,
So.
why do you do those kinds of things? Why do you go out of the way to help people? Because even if it wasn't specifically related to obviously, were you there on the site working on the job?
Yeah.
And that happened? You could be like, hey, somebody call the ambulance.
When you see somebody hurt like that or that's physically not well, I don't know anybody that couldn't jump in there. And I hope there's probably people out there, I guess, that wouldn't, but I'm not wired that way, If I see somebody hurt or struggling like that, you're just going to jump in and help. So that's what I did.
Helping the community there. That's where we put the hat on, everybody. And so technology is always innovative and creative. If I hit a button there that did something wrong, I guess I'm going to watch the video and we'll come back and fix it. I'm not even sure. I get to produce a show with all of the expertise and all the help of technology. So, but Wade did a good job there covering. I went over and pressed the button and nothing was wrong. Poof. I don't even know what's going on with it. There became a black screen came up. I think, keep on rolling, everybody. That's the way life is. We have to keep on rolling. I think that's what you were talking about. I was listening to you. Obviously, I unplugged my mic. If you heard a little click, that's because I unplugged the mic to do that. But you were talking about how helping people. That isn't life for the essence of, if you're not helping people, then there's something wrong with you. That's kind of what I heard you say there.
Yeah.
That's really the way it is. How many people can sit there and watch somebody laying on the ground and go, that's terrible. Carry on.
Right.
You have the opportunity. Yes, you needed to take the time to do that. And it just tells a little bit of the character that you have as a person.
Thank you.
That leads
Thank
to
you.
success. If you want to be successful, be helpful. Hey, I think there's a message there. What do you think? With that in mind, we talk about technology, and I'll share a little bit here because I have been fortunate to have been asked by, I was a former guest on my show, a buddy I met, they're doing charity work. So let me tie this all together, everybody. Do charity work, you meet people. This guy ends up becoming a world famous musician. At the time he wasn't. We kind of worked together. I had him on as a guest on my other show, the Cowboy and Judge show. Then with that interview, he shared it with everybody, and then he turned into this huge guy. Did a lot of things, not just to share in the interview. He told me the interview really helped his business. I said, what percentage? He said, 40%, because once you've been interviewed on a big national network, now you get the attention. Not even as a local broadcast, but as a national network. And so this is the kind of things you can do with people. So to help them, I was asked to help write this book. So I wrote the foreword. It ended up being a chapter I wrote, is what they ended up saying. Cardinal wrote a chapter, really, because it was an introduction that called the foreword, but the foreword by Cardinal Cowboy. This is the #1 seller in its category, which is what you can see what it's about here. Magnetize your media. Why should you do that? Because if you don't tell people about what you do, nobody else is going to. The word of mouth thing kind of spreads, but what happens is these days you're overwhelmed by the people who do take care and take advantage of this new thing called social media. Have you experienced this a little bit? Yeah, you've seen a little bit what happens with social media. And you got to have a website. These are the things we're talking about. And if you don't start to engage in some of these things, the big guys, and even the small businesses out there will engage in these things. And that's what we want to help people with. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. So that's where I get to help the world. I appreciate that. But along those lines, would you say is some of the technologies that have changed the way you've had to do business? And some of that in construction, you can do a little bit of that. You can do a lot of that. Somewhat hands-on, you make the nails. But even now they've got automatic nail guns, they call them. Right? That's a technology.
I think those have been out a while.
But
a lot of the battery-powered stuff, that helps. You don't have to roll cords out ever for anything anymore if you buy a bunch of battery tools. Some of them don't work as strong as a corded, power saw or something, but that was a game changer. All the lasers, that's a game changer. It makes everything just perfect. You're not relying on just a 2-foot level or a 4-foot level. You can level something 200 feet away, in the split second just by hitting the button. So that's a game changer. So yeah, I would say a lot of the tools, and honestly, the cell phone. You know, when I first started, we didn't have cell phones. There's pay phones, and now being able to take pictures of everything we do. I can't tell you how many days that we need a piece of material, and I'm headed to Home Depot, and rather than me go all the way to the job, I just call my guy, you know, one of my employees, and say, hey, take a screenshot of that. I know exactly what to go get at the store now. It saves me so much time, you know, having to run to the job and back. So cell phones alone, that was a game changer. But
so I guess we could go on and on. I didn't realize how many different technologies. I didn't think about the fact that battery-powered tools, I mean, that's a huge difference because literally, ever been there and you're like, get the cord over here, and then you see these cords that have little cuts in them. It's like because somebody hit it with the blade or they stepped on something or the carpentry knife, and then all of a sudden you're like, don't touch that piece of the wire. Or you're gonna go, that's not ever been electrocuted by a little low voltage?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Been hit a
many
couple
times.
Many times. It doesn't kill you unless you drive the big voltage things, I think. Maybe.
You know it when it happens.
You know it when it, you know it when, write that one down. You know it. How does that apply to life? You know it when it happens. With electrical and a lot of other things in life. All right. Technology has impacted all of us in a large way. I encourage people to. You've got a great looking website. Good job there.
Thank you.
A couple tips I'll give you about that I'd recommend, just minor little things, but it's hard to find people these days. When you want to, let's put the website up here for everybody to take a look. But this is Elite Renovations.pro. Take note, everybody. I'll actually put that on the screen. I've got a title up there. See that where it says the information? And you can see that. But look at some of the work. This building, you said recently, that's a new addition to your website, but a new addition for something you worked on, too. That's a building you actually did the work there on the background. And then here's some more work he's done with his team, Wade, and see all the stuff that they've put. I'm going to take the title off there so you can see it better, sorry. And pools and interior and theaters and bathrooms and showers and marble and, wow, kitchens. If you're looking to get good quality work, and somebody who's been recognized, check out the website here, and it's easy to get started with these guys. And look at all the information here, and hey, there's the phone number information. Contact us. Takes you right to the Contact Us page. Fill out that form, I would say, and then people can get started with you pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Make it easy for everybody. If you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. And probably somebody who doesn't do as good a work. But they got it made it easy. You want somebody who makes it easy and does the good work. How about that? We've proven that here with what Wade does. That led me to the process. Is the process as simple as a phone call, a text? You told me that number on there is actually textable.
Yeah, I've gotten many just text right out of the blue from new customers that got my number from their friend or family member or something, and we'll just correspond that way until I meet them in person to look at their projects. So I don't mind any way that they get a hold of me. You know, a lot of time it's on Facebook. They'll just message me on Facebook. Hey, do you guys do work in our area? You know, we're looking to get this done, and that's how I get them. So there are so many different ways with social media now. I've also got an Instagram page. I get messages there every once in a while for jobs. So,
well, make it easy for people, but also do the work to back it up and document what you. I follow Alex Hormozy. If a lot of people have. Pay attention to the marketing world, and this is a guy who was starting gyms, and how do you do this? And he was living at the gym because he had no money when he got started, and he's figured out this whole internet marketing thing, along with video, changes the game. Nobody knows what you're doing unless you tell them. I mean, and somehow you've got to tell them, whether that's through word of mouth. Well, I do word of mouth. I'm like, well, you're really putting yourself out on a limb because they're people that you're counting on. They will tell people casually. But especially then after somebody does hear about something that somebody's done, then they go check them out. They're not going to say, oh, he said he built a $30,000 job, no questions asked, let's go. These days, if you don't have a great looking website like Wade and Facebook, then you're going to lose them right there. And then I want you to put this video. We'll talk about I'll put this video. Give this video. Put you on your website. We'll talk about that because that's how you get to know people and make decisions. Because when I'm going to spend $30,000, I'd like to at least hear from them a little bit before I. Yeah, because he's a busy guy. You may not get a face-to-face with him for a half hour personally just to talk about whether or not you want to hire him or not. Or you want to hear about what he does before you meet with him, you'll say, let me find out about this guy before I'll even call him. That happens a lot too. So we appreciate that. All right. Do you have one big challenge, and we talked about that a little bit the first show, but what would you say is one of the biggest challenges you've overcome in your business or you've helped a customer with? And something that obviously was a difficult situation.
I have a few, but I would say there's one that sticks out. Is there was a company that was pirating my name. They were out of Crystal City, and they literally found that I had great reviews everywhere, so they stole my name legally, because you can legally do that in Missouri, have the same name apparently. But they started a company, and it's since closed because they found out this guy was a crook. But it was starting to do a lot of damage to mine, and I had no idea what was going on. I kept getting calls from people out by Crystal City saying that I was taking money and all this different stuff, and starting jobs and then never coming back. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's Crystal City is what, an hour and a half from here. We don't even do work there. And so I had to go on Channel 5 News and kind of clarify clarify that we weren't that company or weren't affiliated with them. So that was a huge challenge. And then I had an investor one time that tried to not pay me for a good amount of money from renovating a house for him. So I had to legally, over 2.5 years, go after this guy to get my money back. So that's the two biggest ones, I guess, the two biggest challenges. Everything else is fun.
Well, obviously, life is not, you have not lived unless you've had some kind of challenge.
Yeah, true.
And it's just,
true.
I mean, I've had big deals that just got yanked out from underneath me because they said they could do it themselves. They found out later that wasn't such a good idea. And then we all worked it out anyway. But those are situations in life you just have to keep plugging, keep plugging. It could sink if you let it.
That's it.
With that, I want to give a quick message here from one of my buddies who we've teamed up with. You guys may know this guy. He's been around St. Louis for a long time. But listen here for just a second for what my buddy Paul Brown has to say.
I'm here with the world famous Paul Brown, everybody.
Almost infamous.
Many years as a reporter here in St. Louis, ABC, around the country, Speed Network.
I've done a lot of things. I've had many incarnations. In my life. KMOX, KTRS, ABC 30 TV, Ladue News magazine, columnist.
Good looks and talent, everybody.
Oh boy.
There we go. All right, Cardinals. Why are the Cardinals such an institution here in Busch Stadium?
Well, I think you nailed it right there. Institution. I mean, this is just part of the culture of St. Louis. When you are a Cardinal fan, you are a St. Louisan, and that's just part of the deal. But the history, the tradition, everything about the Cardinals.
And so that's good words. That interview goes on for a couple minutes, everybody, and learn a little bit about what we're trying to do in the community. And Paul is here to help me with that because he's worked as a professional all over the place. KMOX, ABC, Speed Network, which is a big national deal, and just a great guy to have as part of our team here. And we've worked with a lot of great people too here, and we appreciate all of the work we're getting to do to help highlight the leaders in those who are the elite. There we go. I did it again. I love smart man here. Use that word elite. It sounds good. All right. Well, give me then. Do you have a quote? And I guess we kind of talked about that for a second before. If you had to quote yourself of one of your favorite quotes or one quote that you think just is meaningful to you, do you remember what we talked about? It was kind of a cool.
Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off, man. This is a prime example of such, because you don't become the elite. And I'll throw it at you another way then too. You built your reputation, you put in the work, but you decided to call yourself elite. Was that the first name you came up with when you first launched too?
Yes, and it's literally because I always wanted to work in big mansions. Okay. I just love big homes. I love driving by and looking at big homes. Something about it is just fun, and I just knew that I always wanted to work in big homes. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, the big homes are the ones that are a lot of fun because my particular house, I was fortunate when I was younger, did well, and my cousin kind of looked at me and goes, "This is a big house, cowboy." Mm-hmm. And my cousin did my loan. I thank him to this day because now the house is worth double what I paid for it. I would not be buying my house now, but I've got it almost paid off. I bought it 20 years ago. But I love the opportunities, the features I have because, and I didn't end up getting married. I didn't end up having kids. But now we've turned my house into a business, really, with regard to how I use the house, and production room over here and editing room over there. If I have friends that want to come in town because we're going to do an interview, or guests, clients, they can stay at my residence because I got 2 empty bedrooms that are designed for people to live in, their bedrooms. and then to make this whole thing work for everybody. Because we're trying to make this efficient for everybody, and we want to do that. But the big houses, man, my parents happen to have inherited. My dad bought the house. My dad's parents bought the house on the courthouse steps for $2,000, I think I was told, back in 1942.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was the guys, the family problem. There you go. That's the story we talked about before. Elite family that did really well, but the kids couldn't keep up, and they end up not managing their money. From what I understand, I'm not giving specific names, but we all understand that happens in life. But they had to let the house go. How many houses get sold on the courthouse steps? Well, this probably at the time a $10,000 house was getting sold for $2,000. Well, it's a 6,000 square foot house with 12-foot ceilings, 10-foot wood solid doors. It's an unbelievable house. Check it out. But I mentioned that because these kinds of houses, if you've worked really hard, you fall into these kinds of things, or a lot of people build them, they do provide for a lot of work to be done because there's neat things. What do you like most about those, the interior of fixing or the exterior of those houses that you're working on?
I just love going in when the homeowners are almost scared to show me their bathroom or scared to show me their kitchen because it's so outdated and so kind of hideous, and then we just make it look absolutely stunning, and it brightens their day. They're so happy with it at the end, there's something about that just feels good.
Well, when you say that, then I'm like, I do have to finally show a few of the pictures that Wade allows us to look at. These are on his website, but take a look here. And I'm randomly picking them. I think he just puts them out there, so we're not trying to selectively, is that a word? I think it is, where you can selectively cherry pick is another word we use for that. The ones. Let's just start going through. Tell me what's going on here. This is after?
That's actually a full. We remodeled an entire basement, and that was a bathroom in the basement. So that was all from scratch. It was just concrete floors and concrete foundation walls when we got there. And finished the whole basement, hardwood floors everywhere, and this was the bathroom down there.
Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go to the next picture there just by pressing the right arrow key a little bit more from that closer up.
That's the same basement,
same area. But now you're talking about that. What kind of flooring is that?
That one was vinyl.
Okay, but it looks. I was going to say, because is that wood or it's that vinyl looking wood, and it looks so good. You can't tell the difference, and it's easy to install, and it just looks great too.
Oh yeah, goes together really fast, so it's not that expensive. Waterproof. I mean, it's good for a basement for sure.
Good for a basement for sure, and a little bit more of the angles for that, and you can see all of the different. Oh, wow, that like you filled up the whole. They made a whole party area in their basement that makes it look amazing.
That's actually a Murphy door. So when
that's
closed, it just looks like bookshelves, but then you open it and it's a secret cabinet.
It's a secret door.
The homeowner wanted to store his guns and stuff like that in there, so nobody knew that they were hidden back there.
Not giving away any locations.
Yeah, right. No address.
But yeah, I get you. That's cool. But there's that. That's the front of it. Right there. Yeah, you kind of tell there's a door that maybe you'd be like, hey, but not really. If you put up books and all that, that's pretty cool, man. All right. We all get to have our little fun in our life with all the cool innovations and technology and cool things you get to do. But going through here, so that same shower that was in that room, and now you're getting into where you have to deal with some roofing issues periodically, or what were you doing here?
Every once in a while we'll do an insurance job or hail restoration, or if a tornado hits a house and rips part of it off, we'll go and make the necessary repairs.
And then you can see that, these are things that must be addressed, and you're there tearing things out, fixing things up. What is going on here with?
That was actually she had termites that ate all the floor joists, the wall, the plywood, the studs, everything around that chimney. So we had to go in and remove all the siding and pretty much rebuild it all correctly, and then put it all the siding back together.
Termites.
Yeah, termites can do some damage. Especially if you don't find out about them for a couple of years, they really do some damage.
Incremental. How do you eat an elephant, everybody? One bite at a time. And these termites were making millions of little bites. Is that what they do? They eat. That's their sustenance, right? And is this the way it looked afterwards?
That's before and after pick of a house. That's a different house.
Okay,
but
I saw that.
That white siding was when they got hail damage, and then the brown siding is after we were done. And they wanted black fascia and different accents that we did different to the outside.
In the back. Oh, there's
That
some
was
hail.
before.
That is some. Whew, is that some hail damage?
Yeah,
That's
that was out in O'Fallon.
hail. Yeah, they would say hail. Hail. Yeah. See, I
Hell
can say
yeah.
hail. Yeah, everybody. But yeah, hail. Wow. Okay, and then there's the after. You're saying right there. Yeah, that's. You look like they got hit by a big storm. I mean, there's a lot of those that go through here in the Midwest.
There's the completed part.
Front of it. But as you guys can just scroll through his pictures too. We're showing them off here. Make it easy for you. That's a pretty cool looking bathroom that got finished there. Like 2 sinks, marble. Tell me about this one a little bit.
That's in the plaza in Clayton, actually, and we went in there to do a total bathroom remodel. There's another picture close to that that's got all granite walls, and we even ran the granite on the shower walls so the spider veins kind of followed through and went from one wall to the next. So I mean I think you just pulled it up, but that right there,
Okay.
that was gorgeous, and that is some thick granite. Expensive, but I mean that's about as high end as you can get there.
And it looks unbelievable too. So yeah, like I said, I'm just pressing the right arrow key, everybody. I've got a keyboard down here. And you can see these pictures if you just do the same. Go to the website, go to the Facebook page, and scroll through these. And thank you. A nice note that somebody wrote for you there. And then some more. Now, is this a deck you did too, or what all was done with this one?
That was just painting.
Okay.
We do smaller jobs too, so they already had a deck and it just needed to be restained. So we went and power washed it and stained it for.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, well, you got great looking work here, and you're doing a lot of good things to help the community. All right, as we finish up here, we got a minute left. And there's a ton more pictures that I'm going to put that one up real quick. What is that?
That's the same one.
Okay,
just
so,
a different angle.
Okay,
Yeah.
Finishing up the work, and you just literally there are thousands of pictures. I'm going to start scanning through them here. I'm teasing you, everybody. I don't normally do this, but these are the things that this as an expert you deal with, and when you've built your reputation up, when you become part of the elite. Oh. That's what I wanted. There it is. Elite. This is what you get to do. What's one major objection when people are asking you about what you're doing? What is the first question that comes to their mind that you often have to answer?
Oh man, that's a good question.
A lot of times it comes down to trust.
Yeah,
Because I'm looking at your notes up here. I'm cheating everybody.
Oh.
But trust is a critical issue. I mean, and how do they develop that trust? That reputation has to come in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get a lot of calls from people that are even referred to me, and when I go to meet them, you can almost tell that they just kind of don't know if they should trust contractors because a lot of people have been burned before, you know. I can't even tell you how many customers I go and meet them the first time, and they say, well, the last guy did this, you know, and it just really gives contractors a bad name, or construction people in general a bad name. So I think when I meet people, they automatically have this thing that you have to earn their trust. It's not something they're going to give you, you know. And when you do finally earn it, it's amazing because you knew that you proved how good you were, that you were honest and do the right thing, and that really feels good later. But yeah, I would definitely say trust is probably the hardest thing to gain right off the bat with them.
Wade's worth it. He does good work and a great example in our community. Stay tuned for more, everybody. This is the Your Little Castle Show.